Now, it's the Open Mic Talk Show.
It's the Open Mic Talk Show. Live.
Hey, what's happening, family? You're just in time for another edition of the Open Mic Talk Show. Cara Black, Darnell Swift, Carle L. King II. What's happening, fam? What's happening, gang?
Hey, Carl. Hey, man. How y'all doing?
Just same old soup, just reheated. Glad to be back, with you guys doing our thing and talking some politics, man. All this crazy business going on. We got to chop it up, man. Just make it do what it do and do what we do. So, without any further ado, find out what our sister from another mister has got going on, our resident superstar. First of all, sis, what you got going on for the weekend? What's up with you?
Well, this weekend, actually, I'm going to be in Shawnee later this evening with another Pink and the Floyd tribute band at the Ritz Theater. So
right.
exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Just another brick in the wall, man. Classic rock. I can dig it. I can dig it. I can dig it, man. I can sure enough dig it. You know what I mean? I remember back in the day in Guthrie, riding around, hanging out around Favor, and, Darnell be bumping at Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah. Pink Floyd, man. You got it. Money.
That's right.
It's a jam.
Absolutely.
Yes, right.
Pink Floyd is that deal. I am not mad at the Floyd, man. That's some good music. Anywho, 9 minutes after the hour, this is the strength, knowledge, and power of the Open Mic Talk Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Project 2025.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was just looking at this headline from The Hill. Larry Hogan, who is the former governor of Maryland, running for the Senate seat in Maryland, has come out, and he's just getting blasted, man, because he said it was absurd and dangerous. Now, this is from a former Republican governor. And what I've noticed kind of watching some of the news channels over the last couple of days, the Trump administration and the Trump campaign is trying to do everything they can to distance themselves from this thing.
Sure.
But over 100 people who were part of putting this together came from his administration. So, again, it's just another, should we say, alternative fact, Carl, that they're trying to disassociate themselves with this horrific agenda.
Yeah, it's basically
popular.
No, it's not. It's not, sis. I mean, it's really not, sis. I mean, now obviously we'll let you take the reins for this. Speaking from a woman's perspective, it is absolutely awful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've already gotten rid of Roe versus Wade, flip that over. And now you want to make it like basically illegal to even have contraceptives?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it seems as if we're going back in time for sure. There's basically 4 pillars of Project 2025. And it's about, basically they have about 180 days to implement this from their playbook, from their strategy. And you're right, Darnell, all of the people, all of the players who are a part of Project 2025, for the most part, are past administration officials for Trump.
Right. And, there's a clip of Trump in 2022, a couple of summers ago, talking about the Heritage Foundation, and I'm going to paraphrase here. Basically, it's going to lay the groundwork for what their quote, quote, movement will be all about once he wins the White House. Again, it's draconian, it's racist, it's misogynistic, it's everything that all of us disagree with. The thing that, kind of really puzzles me about this whole conservative quote agenda is that so many people support it. I don't think they know what the hell is in it. I think they just say, hey, if Trump's for it, well, I'm for it too. You know what I mean?
Right,
well,
right.
It's the cult of personality is really what it is. They look at this man as some type of messiah, especially now with the attempted assassination. You see at the Republican convention, they had like bandages on their ears. Like
I was going to ask you guys. I was going to ask you. Are you repping your Trump? Do you got your bandage on your ear? I was going to ask you. That's what I was about to ask y'all. I was because I'm repping mine. I got my Band-Aid on. You know what I mean? And,
that is so insane that people are putting sanitary napkins on their ear. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And someone said, and I wish, I wish that I had come up with this quote, but someone said, because it's so cultish, like Cara was saying, right? And someone said the only difference between Trump and Jim Jones and their cult is that Trump is charging for the Kool-Aid.
Absolutely.
So,
no question.
It's crazy. I mean, I never thought that I would ever see a time when a segment of the population, and we're going to get into what Carl and I kind of think about this in a second, where a segment of the population would be so blindly loyal to an individual. And as I try to break it down, this is just my perspective. There's nothing that says this other than the way I see it. I just think this is primarily racially motivated. That it's all about keeping non-white people out of the mainstream of society. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, if you look at the Republican convention, you saw a black here or an Asian there, but for the most part, these are old, angry white folks.
I'd agree. I would agree with that. Yeah. I definitely see that happening. I mean, when you say let's make America great again, when was it great for brown and black people?
Never.
Well, mostly brown people.
Never.
Never. So what do you really mean? Women didn't have any rights. That's when America was great again. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, obviously in this country there are more women than men, and it's what trips me out is how people vote against their own best interests. This is devastating to the greater community at large, but specifically to women, black and brown people. This is it's phenomenal. Now, one thing that I will say this, we might have a chance to stay in the house, though. You know what I mean? We might have a chance to stay in the house. You know what I mean? We might have a chance to stay in the house this time. I'm telling you, man, this thing is crazy. I honestly believe, in my heart of hearts, if they could put black people back in slavery, I believe they'd do it. I really do. I believe they'd do it.
And let me qualify my next statement. I don't have anything against any race of any people. I just call it like I see it, right?
Absolutely.
If you support a man who first got sued by the Justice Department back in the early 70s for racial discrimination in housing, where they were putting C on anyone who was black that applied for housing in any of the Trump facilities there in New York.
What does the C stand for, Darnell? What does the C stand for?
It stands for colored.
Colored.
And then you fast forward to the 80s or the early 90s. I don't remember when the Central Park 5 case hit, but I know it was the late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. Even after they had been exonerated, he takes out a $10,000 full-page ad in the New York Times saying that they should be executed. And then fast forward to when he becomes president in 2017 after Charlottesville. He comes out. People are literally walking around saying Nazi shit. They're walking around talking about Jews will not replace us. And he comes out and says there are very fine people on both sides. If you support him, you support racism. And if you support racism, you are a racist.
I mean, this is the dynamics of this thing, man, and how we've gotten here is really what I'm shocked by is the how fast it's happened. You know, this country has been this way for hundreds of years, and the dismantling of this quote unquote experience, this American project, I didn't think it would take this long. But again, one of the things that I was most naive about was the fact I did not know that some people, that race was the most important component over their life. I thought that when you broke it down to the lowest common denominator, the common man would always go back to, their wallet, their family first, and then whatever, after that. But not this time. This is different. This man has awakened something in this country that has been here. It's never gone away. It's always been here, but it was not appropriate to say it out loud, if you will. You were shunned. You were boycotted. You were canceled, if you will. They are embracing this full-fledged to the detriment of themselves, their family, their businesses, and everybody around them that they care about. They don't care. It's just, we're going to take one for the team. And that shocked me. It did. It really shocked. That stunned me. That stunned me.
He's empowered them, basically. He said he was going to drain the swamp. We didn't really know what that meant, but it was literally, I'm going to peel back all of this shit that we've been hiding for years, and just let your hate flag just fly in the wind.
Let it fly, man.
I mean, you got Supreme Court justices that are here flying flags, representing
unbelievable.
the fullest, and nobody is really. It's not that they're not able, but they seem to feel like they're incapable because they're still trying to play by the regular rules.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, they need to step their game up. This is that old proverbial analogy that you're bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Absolutely.
So,
a knife? Are they even bringing a knife?
We're bringing a knife, and they have machine guns and bazookas. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's the equivalency of how the Democrats are trying to fight back. It's just they've got to stop looking so freaking weak.
Are they fighting back? Are they fighting back?
It's hard to tell, Cara. It's just you kind of feel like no. I mean they are, arguing amongst themselves as to whether or not Joe Biden, and God, he looks bad, should be on the ticket. But I think it's too late to try to go in and reorganize the campaign. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I just think that's just nonsense.
Okay. So shifting gears to the campaign, I'm glad you brought that up because, Cara, it's been a lot of talk about Joe Biden as of late stepping down. Certain Democratic leaders have been saying that he can't win. Nancy Pelosi. Some have even said Barack Obama has been chiming in. Chuck Schumer and the Democratic upper crust, if you will. Now, initially, it seems as if they were going to just slide Kamala right in and then possibly look for another VP or so. Now It looks like Kamala, I'm sorry, forgive me. I don't want to mispronounce this good sister's name. Forgive me. I know she's an AKA from Howard University, and I don't want to get, I don't want no smoke. I don't want it. No, I don't want no smoke from nobody. I don't want it. So, having said that, now it seems as if they want to basically squash this entire ticket completely. Now, some of the people are saying they want to remove Vice President Harris and start the nominating process all over again. And I saw that yesterday, and that was a quote from Nancy Pelosi, supposedly. Now, if they think that the Democratic Party has lost support from black people as of right now, man,
that'll be the death nail. That'll be it.
Yeah.
I mean, the base of the Democratic Party is black women.
It is.
You're going to tell me that you have the first black female vice president. You're going to run off Joe Biden and diss her? Well, they can just kiss their asses goodbye because that, like I think what you're alluding to, Carl, that would disrupt any support for the Democratic ticket amongst a lot of black folk.
I mean, sis, that's an absolute disaster. That is, why would you not have? And from what I've been hearing, what I've been seeing on the news, Joe Biden now is definitely refusing to not vacate the office, to not vacate the campaign because of what they're planning to do to Vice President Harris. I believe that he may have possibly vacated the campaign if they were going to put his VP, in place to continue his mission, if you will. Right. But now it seems as if he's dug in pretty good because they don't want to do that. I don't understand, sis. I don't understand. Women are the backbone of this party, of the Democratic Party, and they're literally shooting themselves in the foot with this for sure.
Yeah, I would think there's probably a man who is creating all of these little whispers that are happening. Everything is pretty much speculative right now. But, people are talking. People have sources on the Hill, and they know what the rumblings are. And, just the fact that they are thinking about such a situation is problematic, I don't know what they're thinking. I think President Biden has been doing a great job. He's older guy, so is Trump, and I feel like that the whole debate was it was a total debacle. And I feel like somebody might have slipped him a Mickey when he came out on stage. Because I'm like, what is happening? Why does he sound like that? Why does he sound so weak? It's like it was almost a setup. I don't know. That's how I felt.
And his facial expressions, man, he looked so out of it. It's crazy.
Well,
it's crazy.
This is the strength, knowledge, and power of the Open Mic Talk Show, ladies and gentlemen. 25 minutes after the hour, our sister from another mister, Cara Black, Darnell Swift, Carle L. King II. Speaking of the debate debacle, I think that the assessment of a traditional regular debate was never going to happen. I don't know why the Democrats, the people who work with Joe Biden, prepared him for a policy debate. That was never going to happen. When they were in the middle of the debate and they start asking Trump about the child tax credit, I burst out laughing and I said, he has absolutely no clue what they're talking about. No clue.
Right.
He didn't answer it. They tried to pin him down. All he was doing was lying and slinging mud. I don't understand. Joe Biden went to that debate in a traditional mindset, thinking people were going to be there to discuss policy and the vision for the future. That's just not what's ever going to happen with this dude. That was a major miscalculation, and I hope going forward they learned a lesson.
Right. You need to know your opponent. Know who you are facing and what they are capable of. That's the whole problem with the Democratic Party right now. Your opponent is doing all of these trickery and sleight of hand, and you're still trying to follow the playbook. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
It's not. You're absolutely right.
You're so spot on. I mean, and you and I talked about this the other day. I mean, it should have been, hey, come out there, start talking about policy. As soon as he tells a lie, which as soon as his mouth is open, then you start, and you just verbalize it, hey, I came to defend my record. I came to talk about the future and what we intend to do. But I can't do that because all this MFer, you can't say that, but all he's doing is sitting up here lying, folks. How do y'all expect me to debate with him and all I'm doing is dealing with a lie every time he opens his mouth? And just keep repeating that in some different verbiage. I mean, it was just a horrible, horrible preparation. They had him prepared. You're going to get an 81-year-old man and try to feed him knowledge for 6 days to go into a debate that's going to be an hour and a half. sometimes I wonder how stupid these people really are.
Didn't
I
make
think they
sense.
get caught up in their own intellect. I think they get caught up
I guess
thinking
so, man.
we know more than everybody else.
I mean, this
Just
was
be
really
real.
simple. This is really simple. You have a cheat sheet. You have some policy issues at the top, okay? Then under the policy issues, you have mudslinging. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slept with this, that, this. I mean, this is really, really easy. It wasn't hard. It seems like they overthought it, if you will, because how could you overthink it going into a debate with Trump? I mean, please, let's get real here. He's not some intellectual heavyweight. I mean, let's get real here. Let's be real, please.
And why wasn't he just saying, hey, I really wanted to debate policy, but are we just going to simply ignore the fact that this guy has been indicted and charged and convicted with 34 felony counts and still has 2 more cases pending? He's been accused of being a sexual assaulter. His
Accused?
business has been
No, sir.
Well, he's been convicted.
He's been convicted,
Well,
sir.
He's been convicted in a civil court of being a sexual assaulter.
Yeah.
His businesses has to pay almost $500 million because he's a lying cheat and fraud. And he has the audacity to come back and try to gain the trust of the American people and be president again. Are you kidding me? It was just a complete and total miscalculation. But Biden did look like buffoonery up there. He just, his expressions, his he already has a speech impediment thing. It just went horribly wrong. But
the media.
Guys,
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I apologize for interrupting.
No. Well, no. You go ahead, because I was going to kind of segue into something that I think you're going to talk about the media. That's why I was going to segue. You go ahead and say what you're going to say.
No, that's right. That's exactly what I was going to talk about, guys. Our responsibility, our peers, our colleagues are absolutely on fire right now. They are being flamed from every area of the globe right now, from every country. I mean, what is happening not only in America, but with American media? They have, it seems as if they have just basically, I don't know, like they've just succumbed to the madness of Donald Trump. They don't cover the gentleman the same way. They cover certain things about Biden. They absolutely won't cover them for Trump. They talk about his old age. Trump is just 3 years younger, and he's a psychopath.
And would be older than Joe Biden if he's elected when he finishes his term. But great points, Carl, and I want to give you the perfect example, guys, of what Carl said being absolutely true. If Joe Biden had stood in front of the American people on Thursday night for an hour and a half and spewed the bullshit that Trump was talking about, we would be hearing about how incognitive he is, how he's lost it. But you've heard almost nothing about how bad that speech was and how it points to Donald Trump's unfitness. Joe Biden's old. He looks like, my grandpa's grandpa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he has a speech impediment, but he can put together.
Man, why you keep talking about that man's speech impediment, Darnell? Why you keep doing that, man?
Well, because it appears that is what people focus on. It's the optics of it. I mean, when he's stammering,
he's been like that for his whole life. He's had this. That whole Lester Holt interview.
Right.
When President Biden was like, why you were talking about
him lying, him telling them tales.
Why you coming for me?
Right. No, he was.
I was out there, and he sat there and said him down. He's like for real, man. This is what you want to talk about. You don't want to talk about all the wonderful things. You still talk about my performance on the debate stage. Well, let's talk about what matters most. These policies, how I am making the economy work, and low unemployment rates. I'm winning, bro. Y'all want to talk about that?
I mean, it's
media that people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Don't let me do what, Darnell? Don't let me do what?
The only media that people should really pay attention to between now and the election date is like the open mic where we put it down and give you real.
That's right. That's right.
And
The real.
seriously, you just need to tune out and stay focused, right? Because we always say this is the most important election in our lifetime. It actually is. It actually is.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And people just need to. We saw what it was like. We've already had a test drive with Donald Trump. You know, you don't go out and test drive a car, dislike it, and then 4 years later think about going back and buying it again when it's 4 years older. I mean, this is crazy to me.
Well, again, when you try to make logic or have rational thoughts for illogical, irrational people, it'll never square in your mind. It'll never square. Mm-mm. So, again, when I was learning about Donald Trump and the diabolical genius that he is and what he has tapped into, I never would have believed that I would have seen a man who owned a farm for over 100 years in his family. And when Trump was imposing all those tariffs, and they were just crippling the farmers, and the farms were closing down all over the country. This gentleman I saw on nightly news, and he said that basically that farm had been in his family for over 100 years, and if he had to take one for the team, then so be it. I was just floored. That was really hard for me to process. It took me a long time, and it's still even telling you and replaying that in my mind, it's still almost unbelievable because most people have a lot of things that they believe in, that they have personal feelings about. But when it comes to their money, their businesses, their family, that's where the rubber meets the road. And most people will, they'll support their family, their businesses, obviously their home, their own livelihood. I've never seen anybody throw in the towel, if you will, for a cult leader. It baffles me. But the basis of all this is racism.
If you get rid of the ends, I'll give up my fire.
It's racism.
You're right, Carl. I mean, if you get rid of the ends and the Hispanics and the all the people that are taking my stuff, then I'm okay. I'll be poor. But just continue to get rid of the ends and we'll be happy because the ends are coming. It's crazy.
The ends, are you talking about those Negroes? Those Negroes?
Well, you watermelon eating, fried chicken kicking. Yeah,
backwards dunking.
The thing is, if you do get rid of the ends, just think about what will happen. You won't have an NBA. You won't have an NFL. If you get rid of the Hispanics, you won't have baseball. You will not have anyone to cut your grass. So I don't know exactly why they would want to get rid of us.
The views expressed on the Open Mic Talk Show are the hosts and the hosts alone. 36 minutes after the hour, this is the Strength, Knowledge, and Power of the Open Mic Talk Show.
Oh, my God.
I mean, sis, this thing, the women, the sisters, obviously the biggest, most powerful voting bloc in this country. How does it happen when we come to every election? Most times than not, most of these people support their husband and what they think, their viewpoints, and they vote against their own best interests. I don't understand that. I just truly don't understand that. This man has tapped into something that is almost unbreakable because they'll literally lose their family, their businesses, their homes, their livelihood for the cult of Trump. And the women, abortion. And do you think that the women are going to save us this time, this election?
I believe that the independent thinking women will. There's nothing worse than a woman scorned. And when you start messing with our rights and our bodies and you're trying to dictate what we can and cannot do, you have a full power rising up. You know, the whole pink hat movement.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's called something else, but
Yeah,
that whole
right.
thing, the marches on Washington, women are really pissed off. You have other women who have that we-ness mindset because, their husband, and it's not me, it's we, what we think. They are few and in between. There are so many women out here who are strong-minded and are just like, no, we are fed up. We will not take this. And I don't understand why people aren't, other women aren't responding in the same nature. We fought hard and long to be able to vote, to be able to have the right to
Wage
choose,
increases, everything. Yeah, absolutely.
everything.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
still fighting for that, So I believe that our sisterhood will come to the forefront and make a difference. But you have to go into all of these Republicans trying to suppress votes. That's another thing. We have to get more women and young people registered to vote and be aware that it's not just the presidential election that's important. It is our local elections. It's
Sure.
the people who are on the school board. It's
You're right. You're right.
Our Senate and the House here in your
Oklahoma.
local
Absolutely.
in Oklahoma.
Well,
People
it's
don't get out and vote. You ask them like, "Oh, did you know that such and such was happening?" It was like, "No, what happened?" I mean, the superintendent, that guy here in Oklahoma.
Oh my gosh.
He
He's a
is just
lunatic. He's a lunatic.
Yeah, Ryan Walters.
And they use Texas and Oklahoma as a testing ground for all these policies that they want to implement
Absolutely.
nationwide.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's crazy. You're gonna fire teachers because they won't hang the 10 Commandments in their classrooms. Why is that? You talk
That's
about
right.
the woke movement and it's indoctrinating our children, but you are trying to indoctrinate them to be just little worker bees and
That's right.
you think what we want you to think.
That's right.
It's crazy.
It
You know,
is.
guys,
It's crazy.
on what Cara was saying about women being fed up, and I totally get it because I'm not a woman and I'm fed up, but women have an extra reason to be pissed off at what they're trying to do. I was going to ask you guys, do you guys think of a Republican woman in a Republican family? Do you think there'll be any type of silent protest vote when they actually get in the booth where they don't cast their vote for Trump and they cast it for Joe Biden? You guys think that they would tell the family, tell the husband, oh yeah, I'm Republican all the way, but understanding the damage that they've done to
Right.
to women in this country, that
Sure.
there would be a silent protest vote that way? Do you think that will happen?
It's possible because there's some women who are woke in the Republican Party that do not follow. I mean, if they haven't left, if they haven't jumped shit already, it is possible that could be something.
Well, guys,
it
you're
could be.
absolutely correct. Let's shift gears. Let's stay within the political fray, and let's shift gears here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Open Mic Talk Show, the strength, knowledge, and power of the biggest name in talk. 41 minutes after the hour, our sister from another mister. She is the superstar, Cara Black, Mr. Darnell Swift, who is the founder, the inventor of the Open Mic Talk Show, and I am Carl L. King II. You know what? Let's talk about the attempted assassination attempt of Donald J. Trump.
One of the funniest things that happened to me is I have a friend, I'm not advocating this, but a friend called me that day and we were talking. He said to me, "Go get outside." Of course, that's a reference to the Major League movie, but
Oh
I've been
my
laughing
God.
about that all week. And that friend, of course, is nearby. Actually,
Boy, that's a funny dude, man. I don't know, sis. Have you heard anything about that, sis? Have you heard, sis?
Yes, yes,
I don't.
yes.
Man, I tell you. Okay, so there's conspiracy theories just flowing rapidly all through the dark web, the internets, all over social media.
Crazy.
It is just.
Did you guys hear the latest today, though?
Okay, I have not. I'm sure
I just saw this earlier today.
Okay.
A few hours before the assassination attempt, the dude flew a drone over the site.
No, he did not. You kidding me?
No, he flew a drone over the site a few hours before the assassination attempt.
He had a rangefinder, and they were like, this guy has a rangefinder, and they knew that before Donald Trump took the stage, and they still didn't, really check it out.
That it is definitely. I'm not a conspiracy theorist unless it can be proven true. But anyway, I mean, guys, this thing, it is a lot of unanswered questions. Certainly, it's completely ridiculous to think that the narrative that has been put forth is true. It's just almost impossible for it to be. I also saw where the gentleman, not only did he scope out Donald Trump and his whereabouts, he also scoped out Joe Biden as well. This guy was he wanted to do a high profile killing, and I don't think it really mattered who it was. I believe that the close proximity to the location from his house, it is what really made him, pull the trigger, if you will, on this particular shooting. But it could have been somebody else. This guy was looking at school shootings. He was looking at Joe Biden's whereabouts, other high-ranking politicians, their whereabouts, and it just so happens that Trump basically fell into his lap, if you will, being less than 50 miles from his home.
Yep, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think
He had explosive. Cara talked about the rangefinder. He had some sort of. Didn't he have some sort of detonation device too, I believe?
Yeah, he had a detonator on his person when they found him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and in his car at home as well.
So he was trying to do a lot of damage. Now, how do you square the fact that this guy, you said he flew a drone over the property?
Crazy. Yes.
People saw him before he got on the roof, and police were actually in the building he was on top of. That is just
Well, they disclosed, I guess a day ago, that they weren't actually in that building. But the local police had also told the Secret Service that they didn't have the capability to man the whole area because it's a small town and they have a small force. And so they were like, "Yeah, we don't." The
local police were supposed to.
Yeah,
the local police were, from my understanding, Cara, I think the local police were supposed to be in charge of that particular building.
Mm-hmm. And I did see you're right, Carl. And I did see someone on one of the news programs talking about what you just mentioned, Carl. Where yes, they assigned that particular perimeter to local law enforcement. But what this former Secret Service person was saying is, for that particular building, even though it was outside the perimeter of what they were covering at the event,
right?
That they have something called line of sight, I guess, right?
Okay.
And that rooftop was in line of sight. So even though they were assigning that outside perimeter to the local law enforcement, they were supposed to man any building like that was out of sight. In line of sight. So they clearly made some big time bundles. I expect for the Secret Service head to probably roll. I don't know that she'll be able to survive that.
It should have happened a long time ago. Ago. They had breakdowns. The Secret Service was one of the most valued and respected institutions in this country. And as of late, they have been infiltrated by
Trumpers?
Yeah,
Trumpites.
basically,
As Hulk Hogan
yeah,
said, Trumpites.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
And
basically,
then,
I mean, you're talking about a situation where they've had some situations, some with Joe Biden. They've had some miscues and some things that shouldn't have happened, and this continues to happen. Now, I personally believe Carl L. King II that Donald Trump is responsible for this. I believe this is all the setup. This is all propaganda. This is all part of the show, if you will.
Right.
Darnell, the gentleman went golfing the next day. Now let's just put this in perspective for a second. So, Darnell, Cara,
yes,
you
sir.
almost lose your life. Okay, you almost lose your life. Would the next morning, would the first thing you thought about, or the first thing that you did, would it be go to play golf? Maybe. I mean,
No.
after
Yeah,
you.
that's
The
how I
first thing,
unwind after an attempted assassination. You
right?
have to
You
go
know,
hit some
it
balls.
would be
I mean-
it would be golfing after I did my wake and bake, of course. Then it would be golfing,
Okay.
and probably hit the country club and have a few cocktails with my friends. Of
Okay.
course not. Of course not. Not only was that just bizarre, which he does bizarre things all
Regularly.
the time,
Yeah, he does.
someone lost their life there. And
And
two
two people-
were still critically injured.
They're right.
It shows his
You're right.
lack
You're
of
right.
empathy and compassion for other people. It's like, okay, well, I mean, a piece of glass hit me, and now I'm going to go golf. The other thing, too, Carl, you and I spoke about this the day of. When they lifted him from the floor of the stage and he's standing there throwing out the white power signal and talking about fight, fight, fight,
Yeah.
that just seems bizarre to me. Because
It was like,
you
yeah,
don't
your
know.
head. I'm
He's
sorry. Go ahead.
exposed. No, he's
Yeah.
exposed. I mean, it's like that just never resonated with me as the way that would be handled, because I saw, and you can see the old footage when they shot Reagan, man, they had him in that vehicle so fast it would make your head swim. They literally let him stand on stage, profile, throw up the white power sign, and then put him in the car. Something
He commanded
stinks.
them. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
you're right. No, I think you're right.
He said, wait. You could hear him saying, wait.
He
They were
did.
trying to move him. He said, wait.
He
and,
did. He did.
And then he poked his little head up and his fist, and I was like, yeah, he could have got shot in the head right there. Boom. Dead.
Well, sis, what you're referring to, he said, wait, and then he asked for his shoes. And when they picked his shoes up, they grabbed his shoes and his lifts fell out. I don't know if you saw that. His lifts fell out of his shoes. He asked for his shoes. Again, if I had almost had my head blown off, if I ain't got no shoes on, then I just don't supposed to have them. You know what I mean? They just not
Right.
supposed to be on right now or something right now. I'm going to go head on about it. I'm just going to be barefoot in the park or something. Because I'm not caring about no shoes or nothing. I'm trying to get down, get me somewhere safe. Also, know the oddness of this is the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president of the United States. No official press conference with a doctor. You don't see any medical report. And
Nothing.
it's just everything that surrounds this is incredibly odd. It's bizarre. It's a reflection of who this man is, what he represents, and all of it is just, to me, it was all staged. I don't believe any of it. I believe it was staged.
I mean, yeah, the crowd reaction. You can look at the crowd who, when you hear gunshots, is standing there with their phones up, videoing it.
It's like it was a movie or something. It's like it wasn't real. It's like it was literally a movie, but it was real life. People lost their lives. Now, speaking of the gentleman who lost his life, the firefighter, they're making this gentleman out to be some, hero and some big, just, purveyor of justice and the shield of truth and just great patriot. And he had some questionable thoughts, to say the least. I'll just say that. He was a very, 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 very divisive individual, to say the least.
We know who they are, Carl. When Joe Biden called to show his condolences, the wife would not take the call.
Meanwhile, Trump never called.
Yeah. Well, he did after he finally did.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he finally did, but he only, Trump. He knows how to read the room, if you will. He should have initiated a call from the very beginning. Once he found out that they were complete, loyalists and sycophants, he called, right? But did you know that he lied again? Because the firefighter equipment that he had on stage to honor that gentleman, the last name was misspelled.
Yep. Supposedly, he got that from the family, and that's the way he left it when it was misspelled, supposedly.
Oh, okay. I'll buy that.
But, I mean, man, they lie so much. How can you believe anything they say? I mean, I don't believe it. The whole situation to me seemed to be staged. It reeks of a setup. It reeks of, there was a lot of talk about Project 2025. It was really ramping up. And also, it was a lot of pressure from a lot of members in Congress and people focusing on the media and them not covering the Epstein files. I honestly believe that this was done to basically shut that conversation down. Now look at it. The people who were talking about the Epstein files, and you guys should be cognizant and looking at that, investigating that, those calls have ramped down. So for me, it seems to be mission accomplished, from what I can tell.
Well, he flew on the plane with Epstein to Epstein's quote island 7 times. You've all seen the video of him at the party doing this little hand dance.
Oh, yeah.
Beside Epstein, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There, you guys know that I have 2 daughters. There's a couple of photos of Donald Trump with Ivanka Trump, and you can Google them.
Oh, yeah.
When she was very, very young.
Incredibly inappropriate.
You can't even imagine why someone would take a photo like that with their daughters. Darnell. The man took those photos, but Cara, on top of the photos, sis, the man went on Howard Stern, and he stated how hot his daughter was and how if she wasn't his daughter, he'd probably be dating her. That is one of the most... That is one of the most bizarre, obscene statements I've ever heard in my life. It's just, that is absolutely incredible. Why will the doggone Democrats not come out throwing bolos and haymakers on this dude? This dude is the most flawed candidate in American history. How can we be here, sis? How can we be here with this guy? This doesn't make any sense. The messaging or lack thereof from the Democrats is almost unforgivable. They're letting this guy just roll over them.
Only thing I can think about is that some of those Democrats in power were at those same parties, and he's got the goods on him. You come for me, I'm come for you, and everybody's going to be exposed. So,
speaking of the goods, just really quickly, because we're about to wrap this show up. Very quickly, I think all of this is guided by the hands of one Vlad, the Impaler, Putin. I do. I believe all of this is being orchestrated by Putin. Guys, Russia has long held the thought that they would bring down America, with not ever firing one single shot. Now, Russia wants world domination. I believe Russia has compromised on all of the major figures, the major players, entertainers in this world. There's been a lot of talk as of late that Epstein was Putin's boy. I believe it. 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 I do. I believe it. So, guys, what are we going to be talking about on the next Open Mic Talk Show?
I think it's interesting that we should maybe take a look into how social media is influencing our behavior, our thought processes, and also how it is influencing maybe even this campaign to a large degree. I think social media this go round is playing a larger role than many people want to believe.
I agree with that. I also think that we should look into the whole AI phenomenon that is taking place. I think it has an effect on our reality as well as our politics and how we think. I think they all kind of go together.
Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, with that being said, this has been the Open Mic Talk Show. The strength, knowledge, the power, the insight of the biggest, baddest name in talk. Cara Black, Darnell Swift.
Yeah.
And I'm Carle King II. We'll holler at you next time. This has been the Open Mic Talk Show.
Holla.
Later.